Hello and welcome to episode 3 of our STEM Expo Speakers Series 2020. Today, we are lucky enough to be joined by 2 additional participants. One, our own Samantha Gorman from RHP, and our very special guest today, Trevor Anderson. Thank you, Trevor, for joining us.
Yeah, thank you all for having me.
It's our pleasure.
So, Trevor, we want to know a little bit about your background in STEM. If you could actually start by telling us what it is that you're doing now, that would be helpful.
Sure, yeah, thank you. I'm currently working for a consultancy called Cumming Corporation. I'm part of their energy and sustainability team. My work is mostly involved currently on climate action plans. And so, for example, right now I'm assessing LA Metro's progress on measures it's implementing to mitigate greenhouse gas emissions. We'll be doing something similarly soon for the city of Oxnard, with just north of Malibu, right in the Ventura County, and then also for the county of San Diego. So I have a background. I've made a pretty niche background in greenhouse gas accounting, and so able to apply those skills now at the public agency and city level.
Sounds like very important work.
Thank you. I think so.
So can you tell us a little bit about how you got to this? Like, what's your background in your field? What did you, like, where'd you go to school? What'd you study? What other jobs have you had in your field?
Yeah, absolutely happy to. So I've just always liked the outdoors and the environment, nature, what have you. And I was always a good student and really excelled well in biology and math, but always knew never wanted to go the medicinal route or the lab route. I don't like lab work at all. Apologies if that's offensive to others in the STEM field, but not lab work is just not for me. Wasn't good at it, and but loved the biology field, the environmental field, and didn't know what what to pursue, honestly, career-wise. And I don't know, so when I started, I went to the University of Delaware, where I earned a bachelor's degree in biology, and about halfway, there you go, blue hens. And
what is a blue hen?
Yes,
Great question.
State bird, is that what it is? The blue chicken. Billy Madison wanted to see a blue duck, but you can go to Delaware and see blue chickens. Yeah. And so as a blue hen, I picked up my junior year a business minor. Just thought, never that was practical. Couldn't be a bad move, especially for someone who just, I was basically pre-med with my bio coursework. But because I was just so interested in bio and it's a challenging subject matter, I thought, all right, I'll definitely finish with bio. Not sure what I'm going to do career-wise yet, but so picked up the business minor. And Sam and I finished school and graduated in 2011. The 2008 recession had hit, obviously, a few years before that. And I was really recommended by people at the time, go to graduate school. The economy will hopefully recover by the time you're out of grad school. And so my junior year, I started exploring grad school programs. And I was very interested in any ones that combine science and business together. And so I ended up really finding out, I always knew about going green and being, an environmentalist, but sustainability, I really started learning about towards our senior year of college. And I ended up going to American University to their business school, Kogat School of Business, for their inaugural year of their sustainability management program. It combined science, business, and policy all in one. At the onset, I never thought I'd be interested in policy work. And then surprisingly enough, I got very caught up in policy, specifically with climate policy, and really just loved how there are really environmental economics is what I really got most interested in, but with that specifically in the climate arena. And so if it wasn't for that grad school program, I never would have even known about this, what I do now as a career opportunity. So that's really where I learned that this was all the stars aligned, I guess, if you will. I was in grad school where it just became very clear to me, this is, climate change is a really important issue to get involved with. And it just made everything just clicked. Like, yes, this is a specific field I want to work in, and hopefully get at the overlap where we're internalizing the social costs of carbon, if you will. So climate policy, greenhouse gas accounting, sustainability accounting, how, making the business case for sustainability for climate action is what I wanted to do with my career. And so with that, you have to have this strong environmental science understanding. You have to understand what the causes are of this, what the risks are of inaction, economic opportunities for action, what have you. And so that's my spiel.
Would you say, Trevor, that
Thank
this is a like a growing industry? Like, do you see it growing like in the future?
Yes, but not fast enough. I'm a testament to that, I think, too. I think one thing I didn't touch on yet is my field. I'll just group it as the sustainability field. I'm an assistant project manager on the energy sustainability team. So if the sustainability field is not growing fast enough, I have personally at least seen an uptick in growth in recent years, which has been very encouraging. But when I even finished graduate school, there were articles about how my field in particular was unique in that you could get internships in it, and they were just one-off internships. They didn't actually translate into another a permanent opportunity or what have you. And so that was it was funny. I ended up reading this story, this I think it was a New York Times article that had come out the August after I finished grad school. I hadn't seen it though until a couple of years later, and it was coincidentally enough, that was my career journey. I was contract hire, paid internships with Environmental Defense Fund for like 3 months, 6 months, 3 months. And it just was, that was life. And so it was, I hadn't ever quit an opportunity. It was just short-term contract hire, and just kept getting a diverse variety of background in the sustainability field. Always knew even from the start, as I had mentioned, thanks to grad school, that the climate specific areas of sustainability is what I'm most interested in. But so no, there's admittedly I'm so happy and lucky to be where I am today, but there is so much more talk than walk. Without going into any further detail, what I'm about to say, it doesn't help that we don't have help at the federal level. And so, that thwarts progress for sure. And when there isn't anticipation that there's going to be federal regulation that keeps businesses, for example, from feeling the pressure that they have to act. I won't name particular companies, but I would learn, through interviews, which I'd be very happy to even get interviews with some big companies who have a sustainability department. I would be joining. The position was to be truly the second person on the sustainability team or the fourth person. And these are companies that employ hundreds of thousands of people and who have environmental commitments. And yet I'd be one of two out of 10,000. And you can't hire more for sustainability, even though you have these claims. So it is definitely a field worth pursuing and ever growing, because it has to. And I think we're finally catching up. It is a frustrating thing that it has become so caught up with what's happening at the federal level. But state of California, is its own leader, a leader in its own regard. The 5th or 6th largest economy, don't quote me on that, in the world. And so, is it the 6th? And so California has always been a leader in the environmental field for sure, and always gets to make the business tie. So in this state in particular, I only see opportunities to continue to grow. Cities are acting, corporations slowly but surely. And so, you could look to see who's leading, where is the biggest momentum, get involved there, and also not to be afraid, like, I mean, as I did, got started where I could, and was very happy to, and that was with Environmental Defense Fund, was with where I got my career started post grad school.
Mm-hmm.
And one, very inspiring trend, I will say too, as someone who, so I finished grad school in May 2014. And so somebody who had been looking and interviewing, applying for jobs for really through, nonstop, essentially for 5 years, I saw it was a really cool thing to see that all of a sudden in January 2019, I had never seen so many new positions in this field, and specifically for me, when where the climate and sustainability nexus pop up. It was overwhelming. It was the most that I had applied to, and I was employed at the time, but it was still, I was like, wow, this is cool. There's a lot of exciting growth here. And then similarly, in the new year, this past year, saw a very similar, all of a sudden, an uptick in open positions in this field. And that is to say too, that's a very encouraging trend. And that's specifically looking at climate. Sustainability is a much broader field than I had ever thought it was. And so depending what individuals are interested in, maybe it's healthy buildings, maybe it's healthy food, there's a whole social aspect to it, of course, human rights, poverty, environmental justice. It's an ever-growing field, and quite frankly, it has to. I mean, so I think I thought in 2014 it was a great field to be getting, when I graduated, it's been slower than I would have liked to have seen, but I'm seeing momentum for sure in recent years.
Trevor, you talked about federal government support, and I'm not trying to play a political card. I'm actually trying the opposite. Since sustainability can be this political football, do you see a part of sustainability that is not political? That would be the area that maybe students or future graduates probably, now that you're in the field, should probably aim towards.
Yes, for sure. And I'm very happy you brought that up, because I don't think it should be political. And so it's, for me, what I've tried to get my career around was making the business case for sustainability. It's enough for me and others in my field and others who are interested in this field to do what's right for the environment, right, on its own right. But you gotta make the case for it, and money talks in this world. And so I think having a strong business background, financial mindset will for sure help. The other thing that I've learned in hindsight, for me, a great undergrad degree would have been environmental engineering. And so many of my coworkers and colleagues who have that, even though I had biology background, and had a lot of hard courses, I know I could have done engineering. Having that engineering degree would have helped me out career-wise for sure. And hindsight's 2020, but I learned, environmental engineering would have absolutely been the better degree for me. So I think, getting at that is having that technical understanding. So for example, I'm working on a lot of solar feasibility studies as well too. And so if you're somebody who's already coming into this field, knowing, the technical electrical, aspects of the solar field, or for renewable energy, you're positioning yourself well for success in this field, lighting, HVAC, what have you, that type of technical, because when it comes down to the climate energy, sustainable energy, there's no escaping that connection. And so having that technical engineering background would be incredibly helpful as well, and really just try to make I think it's really exciting, but isn't always the most exciting topic in this field is efficiency though. But so energy efficiency, water efficiency, so staying away from policy type of work, there is, if not more, a lot to be done in the technical and financial aspects of this. What I like having is truly having the the triple threat of trying to have the background of it all. I think it especially works well with climate change economics, having to have an understanding of the technical aspects about what will reduce greenhouse gas emissions, being able to make the business case for those measures, those technical measures, and then possibly having policies in place that help facilitate the implementation or deployment of those measures.
So having like a well-rounded understanding of everything you think would be the best approach for people who are interested in getting into this field.
For sure, and I really, yeah, I'm glad this question made me jog my memory. Where, yeah, I mean, especially as a STEM chat, if you're interested in this field, you cannot go wrong with the strong engineering background, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Good advice.
Yeah.
So well, a couple things. One is, so I did a quick little Google search. I think you were right. California, 5th largest economy in the world.
Nice.
There we go.
And yeah, so you mentioned the engineering, but so what else could, a 9th, 10th grader who thinks they're really interested in, I mean, what else might you give them in terms of suggestions into pursuing something like this?
Sure. So the other one that I haven't hit on is, and I guess is the M, right, is mathematics, where, I mean, I do accounting, greenhouse gas accounting, so not financial. So even today, what I was doing earlier was having my face in Microsoft Excel and looking at how LA Metro has goals through 2050, and started, having to quantify on an annual basis from now through then, how much they need to reduce to stay on track. And so having a strong mathematical background and because the depending on the project type, the quantification can get really tricky. Energy related projects tend to actually be much easier than if you move into the land use sectors and looking at forests and forestry type projects. And so having a strong background in math will also, I think, set yourself up well for future success in this field.
How do you feel about that, Mike?
Math.
Is it important?
Good math skills will never not be beneficial to you. So,
nice.
Like the math.
No one has.
Teacher. Yeah.
There's never been anyone in the world that has complained, "Oh, I just know too much math."
Nope.
It's a burden that I know this much.
Yeah.
Trevor, what you're talking about is interesting because nowadays jobs are not just location specific. And it sounds like a lot of what you're talking about, you can have a job anywhere around the world. Is that true?
I'm seeing actually, it's funny you mentioned that. When I was previously with the Climate Action Reserve, a nonprofit, technically based, they started breaking away from the mold, if you will, of having to be in a physical office location in the early 2010s, where they had staff for several years. A lot of my colleagues had been there for 7 to 10 years, but life's taken them other places. And so like whether a spouse gets, relocates for a job or needs to or something, what have you. And so they really started adopting this remote work policy, telecommuting policy pretty early on in the game. And it was also because of the whole mitigate our own carbon footprint, where there isn't the if you don't have to come, use transportation to get into a physical office location, you're reducing greenhouse gas emissions. And so it was twofold. And they, got to test the kinks well with these employees they wanted to retain, but who were moving elsewhere. And what they ended up started doing then, from even when I had already started, it was already well underway, is employees got to work 2 days a week from home. And there still is, now truly right now amid COVID-19, we're seeing, we're really pushing the envelope and seeing what's possible, but there's obviously reasons why they weren't ready to go fully. Okay, everybody is remote 5 days a week, especially for new employees wanting to, get a sense of their motivation and their work ethic and what have you, and having them in the office and, having a manager or something really on them or checking in on them, but helps us see that. So I think there is still value in obviously having a physical office location for everybody, but definitely seeing it as going hand in hand with trying to mitigate greenhouse gas emissions. A step companies can do is employ more telecommuting, reduce the emissions associated with employee commuting.
Nice.
Yeah.
Trevor, what's the next step? So here you are a greenhouse gas accountant.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, you're a young guy. What do you see as your future? What's your dream job?
Oh, well, thank you for calling me young. I honestly, I'm so happy with where I am right now. And
this is not going to your employee, I promise.
No, I understand. No, not even giving a plug where what I've realized, because actually they can know this or not, I was actually having interviews earlier this year too with the County of Los Angeles and with the City of Santa Monica, and both sounded, and sustainability positions, and
right,
sounded really, really interesting. And I was but this offer had to come in first, and it was like also weighing my options. What I'm just really realizing of what I'm so happy about with where I am just generally is that as I mentioned earlier, I'm working on currently climate action plans for LA Metro, for the city of Oxnard, for the county of San Diego. If I was just at the county of LA, for example, it'd be great work, but it'd be just the county of LA. So what I'm very excited about with being at a consultancy is having a wider reach and maybe the potential to make a bigger impact. And so, already having those, there's projects within projects, but those are 3 large, ongoing projects. And I'm very excited about, for example, the company actually just put out a proposal to be the ones to make sure the World Cup that's going to be in LA, to make sure that's carbon neutral. And so I'm feeling very fortunate that I am, especially with the career journey I've had, that where I am today, and that because for me, what I want career wise is to be able to make as much of an impact on climate change mitigation and adaptation as possible. And so I really think that right now I'm having that ability, like finally I'm at that point where I always thought too I would do well as a consultant. I had a summer job where I more or less was operating as a consultant, and for me it is that exciting, that I get to work on multiple similar, I guess, enough projects, but for a bunch of different clients. And so down the road, whether it's with this organization still or not, I want to see myself climb the ladder at this type of doing this type of work. So I'm an assistant project manager right now. I'm hoping, honestly, possibly even within the years, get promoted to project manager and just keep climbing that up. And 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, even hope to be could be a consultant for one of the big 4 accounting firms, if they're, or a manager, like director or something, for sustainability director, what have you, for one of the big 4 firms, or possibly in-house at a sustainability director at a huge corporation or something, who has that wide footprint that I'm interested in making sure I'm being a part of, wanting to be a part of that influence for sure.
If I could just say, as Trevor's friend and having known him for a long time, I really think he kind of touched on this already, but for him, it's always been about like feeling like you're actually making an impact, like not just kind of in the background, but you really care so much about like the environment that whatever you're working on, you want to make sure it's actually making a change. So it sounds like this new job.
Thank you for saying that too, because not that I haven't had really exciting work in the past too, but I could just give one quick example where with my former employer, Climate Action Reserve, I'm not with them anymore, but I'm very thankful for what ended up being like a case study or something, or like seemingly like a thesis if in grad school, where I wrote a very robust carbon offset protocol for the agriculture sector. But it's such a challenging sector to crack that this protocol certainly makes it capable for greenhouse gas mitigation in the ag sector, but only one project has been implemented to date. And I spent 2.5 years of like hard work on this, and the result as far as climate action goes is so minimal that it was internally so defeating, where it's like, I'm getting great experience, but what's my on this huge problem? Like, I'm sure certainly growing my own personal education and skills, and which truly has helped me get to where I am today. But externally, big picture, it was like, yeah, but this isn't making nearly as big of an impact as I want to make, professionally and personally. And so, yeah, already, I mean, just what a difference the past 2 months have been coming in the past 2 months, and just already the, doing things that are for sure getting implemented and are making a difference.
Great. Trevor, is there anything else you want to get out there? Any news to share? Anything you want to plug? Anything like that you'd want your viewers to know? I
just will plug that I recommend to anyone in the STEM field to stick to their passion. I think it came across pretty clear here that I'm very passionate about this work, and that I also got very lucky too that grad school helped me find this. That this is what everything solidified for me. I realized that others, it might not be the same. Might not, maybe you'll find out earlier. Maybe it'll take later in life to find out what they want to do for a living. But whether it's in STEM or not, hopefully, since it's a STEM targeted audience, that if you are, find your passion and stick to it. That's yeah.
Great.
Trevor, thank you so much. We really appreciate you taking the time and effort to do this. Our viewers, I'm sure, will enjoy hearing your advice and your journey. It's been an interesting journey.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's been a real pleasure. Thank you.